Imagine watching the sun going down behind a mountain, and you realize you got no way to get around it. So you are consumed into utter darkness with nothing but you thinking, how can I get past this? Maybe I should climb it. Can I go around it? Will I ever see the sun again? The mountain just keeps getting bigger, and now you are only 3 feet tall, and around you are just walls. You have two choices: run while your legs are still tired, or wait for the ground to cave in and fall. You are now being chased by the pace of your heart beating. That mountain has now grown, and now every single piece of your mind is simultaneously breaking down. But that mountain was just a stone. That is what anxiety is like. The little things start to feel impossible, and you soon realize that you are your own worst enemy. Some of you may feel very familiar with these feelings and the scenario that I mentioned, but on the other hand, some of you may be confused and may be thinking that sounded kind of dramatic and crazy. And as crazy as it does sound, it's a real thing. So what is anxiety? Anxiety is a normal response to a threat, and the discomfort creates a protective response. It starts in the part of the brain called the amygdala. The amygdala is a part of your limbic system. This part of the brain is responsible for our survival. It also plays a role in our behavior, emotional control, and our learning. The amygdala interprets incoming stimuli from the world around us. A distress signal will then be sent out to the rest of our body. This will trigger your fight or flight hormone. You'll start to feel feelings of dread, fear, worry, uneasiness, and avoidance of people or things. Normal anxiety is usually related to a specific situation that is resolved when the issue is over. For example, anyone who's presenting their TED Talk today is probably feeling pretty anxious about it. And that's actually okay and completely normal. However, severe anxiety will last for a long time, even after the issue has been resolved. You may worry so much to the point where it feels impossible to control or manage the fear that you're feeling. Even the everyday tasks will feel overwhelming and impossible. This kind of anxiety may be linked to an anxiety disorder. There are different kinds of anxiety disorders, so if you're worried you may have one, you can get a professional diagnosis from a doctor or a mental health professional. Often, when we are unaware of what anxiety is or what it does to us, we find ourselves thinking thoughts like, why do I feel like this and why can't I shake this feeling? And it usually doesn't matter what you try to say to yourself and put your mind at ease, you're pretty much still going to worry. There was once a young girl who suffered from anxiety from a young age. At 8 years old, it was hard for her to understand where these feelings were coming from. She could hardly sleep at night because all she ever did was worry. School was a very sore subject for her. It was really scary for her to go to a place where 1 million things could go wrong. There were many days when she would have to leave school because the anxiety she was feeling literally made her sick to her stomach. And all this didn't stop at 8 years old. It continued. 9 years old, 10 years old, 11 years old, and so forth. Until she found herself in high school. Still the same girl, with still the same anxiety. Although she became more familiar with her anxiety and found other ways to cope with it, she was still the girl who worried all night with a pit in her stomach about the next day she would have to face. She was still the girl who had nervous sweats and would sit restlessly throughout all of her classes. And that same girl is me. I became very familiar with anxiety from a very young age. It was a lot harder for me to manage it and cope with it when I was younger because I didn't fully understand why I always felt so much distress and fear about just the everyday things. But once I started to understand that those feelings were anxiety, a lot started to make sense. The panic, fear, chest pain, rapid heartbeat, sweaty hands, trouble sleeping, muscle tension, and shortness of breath all became warning signs to me that something was wrong and I had to find a way to relax and get around it. Some of you guys may have felt the symptoms that I just mentioned about myself. However, everyone will experience their anxiety differently. Some people will feel it much more extremely than others, and some may not feel it at all. Some more symptoms to be aware of are a dry mouth, nausea, nightmares, obsessive thoughts, restlessness, panic attacks, fatigue, and ritualistic behaviors. And if you don't know what a ritualistic behavior is, it's doing something over and over again obsessively. For example, like checking your door multiple times to make sure it's locked, washing your hands over and over again. This is a symptom that's common in people with anxiety. Anyways, it's good to be aware of all the symptoms that I mentioned, not only in yourself, but in those around you, and especially your loved ones. Now, for the group of you guys who have been able to relate to this so far, just know that you are not alone. There may be people sitting around you who know exactly how you feel, because anxiety is more common than you think, and it is not talked about enough. Anxiety has become the most common mental health disorder, especially in teenagers. A study conducted by Harmony Healthcare showed that about 61% of Gen Z suffer from anxiety. That means that over half the people in this room likely suffer from anxiety. Now, let that sink in. Take a look around you and realize that over half the people in this room likely suffer from anxiety. Why has it become so common? Most people automatically link Gen Z with phone use and technology, so obviously the studies are pointing towards social media and how it affects us more negatively than it does positively. But our phones are very addicting. They produce the same dopamine that drugs would. They also produce artificial and blue light, and that will mess with your sleep, and sleep only helps. And if you have bad sleeping habits, your mental health will just be worse off. Although our phones do contribute to a lot of our mental health problems, it is not the only thing causing so much anxiety. Like me, you may have genetically inherited your anxiety. Many of my cousins and other family members also have anxiety because of this, so in a way it's kind of a good tool to have each other and be able to relate to each other. Other causes of anxiety may stem from the outward stresses of your life, such as school, sports, family, friends, past trauma, etc. There are numerous things that can contribute to your anxiety. However, kids these days are starting to use unhealthy things to cope. And they're starting to use harmful substances such as alcohol, drugs, and marijuana. And this will never be a solution. The relief, if any, will be short-term, and the consequences will be far worse than what you begin with. So let me suggest to you 4 healthy ways to cope with your anxiety. Number 1, take care of your physical well-being. This means staying physically active, eating a well-balanced diet, and of course, getting good sleep. Exercise has been proven to be a great stress reducer. When you exercise, your brain releases feel-good endorphins. Eating a balanced diet with limited carbohydrates will increase the amount of serotonin produced in your brain. And in my opinion, your sleeping habits are probably the most important. Anxiety is a mental health challenge, so you need to be able to sleep, to rest your mind, and to keep it healthy. I challenge you guys to try staying off your phone before bed. There have been a lot of studies done about this. It will not only improve your sleep, but you also won't get distracted scrolling all night. Number 2, try breathing exercises and relaxation techniques. My favorite is the 4-7-8 breathing exercise. Not only is it easy to remember, but it's also very effective. As you can see, you inhale for 4 seconds, hold that breath for 7, and exhale for 8. You can do this over and over again until your heart rate slows down and your breathing starts to feel steady. Other relaxation techniques you can try include yoga and meditation. Number 3, try journaling and learning more about yourself and your symptoms associated with anxiety. This can help bring some peace of mind and awareness to you and your situation. You can also try talking to a trusted adult or friend. They may understand what you are going through and may be able to help. Number 4, if you find yourself suffering from moderate to severe anxiety, you can contact a doctor and learn about the option of a prescribed medication. Sometimes medication may be the only solution, although in some cases medication might just be a temporary fix. You can let me know what fits you and your situation best. Another good option to look into is therapy. Cognitive behavioral therapy is a common therapeutic technique that works well for people with anxiety. If you can't find access to therapy, you can also find books that teach that same CBT concept. Anxiety is hard, so learning will help you in a situation where there you go. Now, let's go back to the beginning of the mountain. There will be times in your life when the mountains you face will feel 10 times larger than they are because your anxiety will blow them out of proportion. Understand there are tools out there to help you even when you feel helpless. Know that life is not impossible when you are suffering from anxiety. Adjust to your circumstances and take life one day at a time. You can do this. There will also be times in your life when you have to sit back and watch a loved one suffer through the daunting mountain of anxiety. And although it may feel impossible to get through to them, support and empathy are about all you can offer. So let's all be a little kinder and more understanding. You never fully understand what a person is going through. Thank you.